Imagine this scene. A French rider, on the world's top motorcycle racing circuit, wins 2 consecutive rounds. And he's not riding a Japanese bike, not a long-established European brand, but a motorcycle from Chongqing, China, a brand nobody had heard of. This is the first time a Chinese motorcycle brand has ever stood on the top podium at this level. At first glance, it should be a standard story of national industry rising. But the deeper you look, the stranger it gets. The bike's maker, Zhang. At 14, he started as an apprentice in a small repair shop. He spent 20 years rooted in Chongqing, learning from the ground up, and eventually built an engine capable of winning a world championship. Sounds like a classic grassroots success story, right? But here's the part that makes this story really interesting. After winning, in an interview, he said one simple thing: Chongqing didn't give me a single thing, meaning the local government didn't support him at all. No flair, no exaggeration, just a fact. But it hits hard, because in China, success is never just personal. It has to be explained. It has to be attributed. It has to fit into some bigger narrative. Every Chinese person is already familiar with this language. So, predictably, someone came out to explain it. State media quickly published pieces emphasizing so-called multidimensional support, claiming government help is never just money. It's a mix of visible and invisible support, action and inaction combined. Put simply, giving you money is support. Not giving you money is also support. Helping you is a favor. Not helping you is also a form of favor. If you pause for a moment, it's kind of weird, isn't it? When did not stopping you start counting as something to be grateful for? Let's go one step further. In China, the so-called motorcycle ban has been around for nearly 40 years. Out of almost 200 major cities, about 190 restrict or outright ban motorcycles in some way. On top of that, there's a unique rule. Motorcycles must be scrapped after 13 years, a policy you won't find anywhere else in the world. So in this country, most ordinary people are forbidden from legally using motorcycles for the long term. Yet somehow, someone from this country built a world championship-winning motorcycle. The irony is sharp. An oppressed industry, a restricted means of transport, and yet it becomes a tool to prove capability. If motorcycles weren't banned, maybe that trophy could have been 1 year earlier. Maybe there would have been more Zhang Shues all along. And here's the absurd part. In this context, people are told you should feel grateful. Why? Because the government didn't completely crush you. Let's unpack this logic. In a normal modern society, some things are taken for granted. You can choose your mode of transportation. You can legally work in a certain field. Rules should be stable and predictable. These are often called rights. But in certain narratives, they get quietly renamed favors. The logic is simple. I could have restricted you more, but I didn't, so you should be thankful. This is a textbook case of turning rights into favors. But why does this logic even work? The answer is simple and harsh. People's expectations have been changed. If you live in a society where rules are stable, you take it for granted what you can do. But if rules constantly shift, you start thinking differently. As long as I can do it today, I'm lucky. As long as it's not forbidden, I'm fortunate. As long as I'm not being taken advantage of, I'm winning. Over time, a subtle psychological shift happens. People stop asking, do I deserve this? They start asking, am I being deprived? It's a shift from a sense of rights to a survival mentality. And this is where gratitude narratives thrive. They don't just promote ideas, they serve practical purposes. First, they reduce questioning. If everything is framed as, for your own good, it's hard to ask, why is this happening? Second, they shift standards. From, is the system fair? To, are the motives kind? Third, they rewrite success. An individual's achievement isn't just about personal skill. It has to fit into a bigger system. That's why Zhang Shue's story is so uncomfortable. It doesn't fit neatly into the usual narrative. A person who received no support, operating under restrictions, succeeded. What does that success even mean? If you say it's personal effort, then the system isn't decisive. If you say it's the system's credit, then how do you explain it happening in an environment that actively limits the industry? And so, a familiar narrative emerges. No matter what happens, it can always be explained as part of the system. Even the fact that you weren't helped can be framed as part of the system. Now let's return to the motorcycle ban. Look closer and you'll see it's not just traffic management. It's a full chain. First, restrict motorcycles. Push millions of commuters onto electric bikes. Then, under the banner of safety, roll out new standards. Every update triggers a forced replacement wave. The result? Some people end up on constantly changing standard electric bikes. Others are pushed toward buying cars. And cars, in China, have long been symbols of status. So transportation isn't just transportation. It's social hierarchy, resource redistribution, even hidden economic extraction. Yet on the surface, it's explained as for safety, for order, for your own good. And along the way, gratitude is injected again. You're not supposed to ask, why are rules constantly changing? You're supposed to think, at least there are rules. You're not supposed to question, why am I paying for this? You're supposed to be grateful. I still have choices. This is the core of it. When a society constantly tells people, you should be grateful, it's often avoiding a deeper question. What did you originally have? Zhang Shui's story is powerful not just because he won. It's powerful because it exposes a truth. Even under restrictions, humans can create miracles. But here's the question no one wants to answer. What if there were no restrictions? What if rules were stable? How many more Zhang Shuis would exist? How would the industry develop if survival in the gray zone wasn't necessary? Answering these questions would mean admitting much of what is framed as a favor was actually an unnecessary obstacle from the start. So let me wrap it up in one sentence. In an unstable system, the greatest kindness is often just not making things worse. And when this logic is repeated over and over, people slowly come to accept a new reality. Freedom is no longer the default. It's an exception to be grateful for. And that is the bitterest part of this story.